What's up, everyone? Let's take a look at the top setups I'm watching for the upcoming week and talk about how I'm going to trade them. Let's get right with this. First up, ticker SPY. The closest supply I have is going to be up here around the 609.9 to 610.8 area. I'm going to be watching that for a possible reject for ES shorts or SPY puts. Okay, remember, these days, 99% of the time I'm trading futures. That being said, you can always trade options based off my levels. So the closest demand I have on SPY based off the hourly time frame is going to be around this 591.1 to 589.7 area for a possible bounce for calls or ES longs. If we lose this zone, okay, if we lose it, the bounce is invalid. If we break below it, we'll be looking for the retest from the bottom for a possible short entry, okay? Basically looking for demand turn supply. Up next, the closest zone I have below that will be this 575.8 to 574.9 for a possible bounce. So get these levels charted and stick around to the end. I do have some zones on NQ as well for you. Up next, ticker SPX. I did adjust some of my levels from what I've seen this week. And to be honest with you all, I've not seen the levels respected as much so far this year on SPX as opposed to last year. I'm sure that will change. A lot of uncertainty every time they mention tariffs or anything new that could affect the market that people don't understand does cause some, unexpected reactions or, cause an A+ setup to go bad quickly. That could be one reason, but I will still be watching these levels and helping it guide my, SPY and ES trades. This is just support and resistance areas of confluence. So if you want to get this charted, if you don't understand how I watch this, if you scroll through my YouTube, I do have a video on how I trade SPX levels, how they help me with my trades. Up next is ticker QQQ. You can trade QQQ options or NQ futures based off these, or maybe even MNQ for less risk, okay? So you can see this 532.7 to 534 area is my closest supply I have here on QQQ. As always, wait on confirmation. Closest demand is going to be back down here around this whole Psych 500 number. Going to be watching this closely. I really like this setup. Just depends, where we are once the market opens tomorrow. Next up, below that, if we do lose it, same thing we talked about on SPY, possible retest for a short entry. The closest demand I have after that will be this 484 area. All these levels look really clear and solid to me. I'm definitely going to have all these on watch. I really don't have a preference one over the other. A lot of times I'm like, okay, this is my favorite setup. But honestly, all these zones look well as long as we don't have no big news drops during them, right? Or have the word tariffs mentioned. All right, up next is NQ. I'm going to talk about this one for a second. But before I move on, I will say this. So I'm going to start. It's not like the normal small account challenges where people blow your accounts. We day trade options. We lose it all because we're, risking most of our account trying to make a big profit. It's going to be done differently. It's going to be fun. It's going to be, we're all going to interact. I'm basically going to post polls for y'all to pick what we get into. It's going to be a longer term type thing. Possibly when we build it up some, we're going to start selling options from it, okay? And yes, I'll let everyone know exactly how I handle it. Haven't decided exactly how much we're going to fund it with to start. But I know I will announce this coming week, so do not fund an account yet. I have a specific brokerage we're all going to use together so we can kind of keep track of everything together, working with the same equipment basically. So I post that inside my Instagram. So if you're not following my Instagram, I highly recommend it. Keep a watch on my story and inside the Bears Den channel that's on my Instagram. You can find access to that on the bio page on my Instagram. And if you want to access my Instagram, you can always go to grizzlytrades.com where you can find everything I have there, okay? If it's not there, it's not mine. So basically, we're seeing a lot of the similarities that we've seen on QQQ here. We have supply here. The only difference is I do have a nice clear supply. If we break above this, the way we ended, looks like we want to push down further. But if we do break above this, I'll be watching for a possible reject in this area here as well. I really like this supply here for a possible reject again. Very strong, very clear, very good price action. That's exactly what I like to see when I'm identifying my zones to trade, right? I don't like chop zones. I like to see areas where we've had sharp price action. Now let's talk demand. I really like this 2800 area here. So 20,800 right in this area for a possible bounce. I will wait for us to come back out of this zone for my entry, a nice strong close above. I'm not saying I'm going to chase a 100-point green candle coming out of this, but if we have, nice aggressive buying, strong signs that we could see a possible bounce, I will get in as close to my stop loss as possible. That's my goal in nearly every trade. Enter the trade as close to my stop loss as I can. Take as much risk off the table as possible. And below that, we have room. We do have some small supports on the way down, but the closest zone I like below that will be way down here around this 2330 area. So yeah, I think it's going to be a solid week. I think, we're going to have to work with all the new types of news that are coming in. So just be aware of that and be sure. It's very important. People underestimate this, but I like to know when any news or events are happening that day. It'd take you just a second to write them down so you're not, caught in that trade. Maybe you haven't set your physical stop loss or whatever. Just make sure you're managing your trades, actively manage your trades during big events like that. For me, like say 8:30 a.m. data, that's a time I'm not interested in being in a position. At that point, to me, in my opinion, it's just gambling. It could go either way really quickly, and a lot of prop firms don't allow it. So just keep that in mind as well if you trade funded accounts. And that's all I have for this video. I appreciate you all for sticking around, and I will be live trading every single day next week at Market Open on here. I hope you all join me. It's 100% free. Great community, great vibes. So check that out. Yeah, peace.